Oh, hello folks, this is Steve A. for you. The last couple of days, just a couple of days ago, I was doing the editing for some, I'll call them just driving videos. That's a playlist. Wanted to show off the beauty of some of the Piedmont in the countryside. And those videos, I like to have a musical accompaniment. And for those of you who may not know, even if you're not making videos, you can go to the Creator Studio, and if you look down the left side, even though you may not have any videos or anything, there's something called the Audio Library. Audio Library. See it down there in the corner? So I hadn't done one of those videos in a while, and when I came to select some music from the audio library, I got a little surprised. I thought it was broken. And I'm going to show you what I mean. First of all, I only use music that does not require attribution. You don't have to say whose it is. I do say who it is, but I prefer that to avoid any problems in the future. You used it, but you didn't say who it was. So it's the audio library, and I'm interested in music. There are sound effects, and I don't know what this is. Now, as you look at that, search or filter library. I'm looking for, first of all, does not require attribution, and secondly, at least a certain duration to fit the video, the length of the video. So I just came in and I clicked on this here. You see, I clicked on it and nothing happened. And I clicked on it and I clicked on it and nothing happens. Now, in the past, that would drop down a menu. But now it's broken. Oh, by the way, this is a YouTube is a problem video. YouTube is the problem video. And just by accident, after I tried like a half a dozen times, reloaded the page, I accidentally clicked over here to the left. It's not here, not on it, here. And there's the menu. That's not the way it worked in the past. Attribution not required. Now you see what it did? So I have at least one criterion to use as search selection. If I click on that arrow thing, which in terms of human subconscious philosophy means click here to drop down the menu. There's only been 40 or 50 years of internet interface behind that. Instead, recently, some brilliant genius at YouTube decided to change it. So it turns out if you click here, you see where the menu dropped down? And if you click to the left of it, you see the menu drop down and it moved over. It moved over so that it was beyond the first criterion. And I want duration. Now I have to fill in something. If I just want to go, if I click a 5 and say apply, it takes it as 5 seconds. Can I edit that? Yes. Just click on it again. And let's say we'll make it 5:05. And then it gives me these numbers over here, but you may not know it. You have to click on duration to get it actually to start indexing where you specified instead of the random garbage that it just throws there. Pardon my French. So I'm guessing if I go to the far left of this and I click there, you see I can add something. You see it dropped down over here. So they didn't used to do that. They used to all be in line over there to the left, and they decided we need to make this smarter. And I'm not going to dispute that. So we can choose an artist name. Let's see if there's anything with Adam. A-D-A-M. I don't know. Adam McDonald. Good, we hit somebody. So, attribution not required. Apparently Adam McDonald, this is the first time I'm doing this. Adam McDonald apparently does not require attribution on at least 2 of his contributions from October 2024. They need to be longer than 5:05, and he's got 2 that are just over that. So that's interesting. Let's see if he's got any others. Let's get rid of that. And yes, he does. So I'm just showing you how that works. But here's the deal. When whomever it was reprogrammed this at YouTube, the mecca of geniuses on the internet and the web, somehow this symbol here became a dead spot in their new code. And you have to know to click somewhere other than on it, because if you stupidly follow natural intuition and click on it, it does nothing. Now, there's the possibility that it's because I'm using the Google Chrome browser and that they've got something screwed up in the rendering engine. What's the rendering engine? If I right-click here and I say View Page Source, this is the text that actually was downloaded to the computer, and then the rendering engine turns it into this. I'm explaining it in case you don't know what I meant. So I thought, well, it's possible that this stupidity, that's what I call it, stupidity, is because of the Chrome flavor of the Chromium open source browser. It's a modification over the basic Chromium. So if I went and used another Chromium-based browser, it might not do this. Stupidity. Can you hear it? You go to YouTube Studio, you go to Content, And then down here on this display, you go to Audio Library. Now I'm going to enlarge it, and we're going to test it. If I click directly on the down arrow, which is the natural meaning of that arrow, it doesn't work. I'm clicking on it. But if I click over to the left, it does. If I click to the right, it does. If I click in here, it does. If I click over here, it does. If I click all the way over here to the right, it does. But if you click on the actual symbol, it's a dead spot. Isn't that brilliant? And that says that whoever did the HTML got it wrong, because they could have done it in a way where the rendering of that symbol could be behind the synthesized area, but the brilliant YouTubers are the problem decided to, who gives a shit? Let's have fun with people. But it might be that this is a fault in the Chromium open source code, and that if I were to use Firefox, which has a rendering engine and browser code unrelated, theoretically, to anything based on Chromium, then it would work right. Unless, of course, it is in fact purposefully coded to be stupid. So let's try it. I'm already logged in with the Firefox browser. I'm on the audio library page, and I'm going to click over here to the right, and it drops the menu down. Thank you. But now I want to click on the arrow to test if it's actually the Chromium code. And I'm clicking on it like crazy, and no, it's the YouTube genius that did the coding. Now, a long time ago, when I worked for that internationally known, internationally operating IT company, my first position for my first 3 years was as a software tester. And every time the developers of the particular products, software products that I did the testing on, released a internal update as they're working toward the next release, or bug fixes, it was my job to prove how stupid they were. Yeah, they don't know how to code. Look at these obvious bugs. I was really good at it. And they loved me. No, seriously, they loved me. Why? Every few days, I click up here on these triple lines of my browser, whatever browser, I have several browsers I use, so I do it on all of them. And I go to Help, and I click, and this one is about Firefox, and Firefox is up to date. Windows has fixes that come out on the second Tuesday of every month. Occasionally, they have emergency updates that if you just turn your Windows computer on, it automatically calls home, and they force the update onto your computer, whether you ask for it or not, because it's so dangerous. But otherwise, they leave it till the second Tuesday of every month. But Bug Fix Tuesday, Update Tuesday. But browser updates can come at any time. And in fact, it wouldn't be stupid at all. See, I like to use that word, stupid at all, if you actually checked your browsers every day. Because at least half the fixes, if not more, are security updates. Your browser is usually your main avenue to all that stuff out there. And the place where you want the fastest updates for security is in your browser, even more than in your operating system. Now, it sounds like I'm off the topic. So I came over and I intentionally used Firefox, which has a code base unrelated to the Chromium series of browsers. And the behavior here, the YouTube is a problem behavior here, is independent of the rendering engine. And so it is actually purposeful, and it's also true that they obviously have either no software testing. Remember, I used to be a software tester. Oh, did I finish my thought? Why did the developers love me with me writing all those bug reports that ended up being a very high percentage of we got to fix them? So they won't get an avalanche of complaints from the customers once the version is released. That the customer won't be complaining, calling in, contacting user support, product support. That the developers, when they release something new, will look good to the world and to corporate, which can be reflected in raises in their paychecks. Nothing like being a bunch of lousy coders that are constantly, remember, this is like reminiscing. When I worked for that internationally known, internationally operating IT company, way back at the beginning of the web, not the internet, the web browsers, the CEO of Hewlett-Packard, a competitor to IBM, contacted the CEO of IBM and said, you know, we're getting a lot of customer complaints about your website. It seemed they'd have to go over and get some things from you to work along with our products. And it seems they get into a lot of trouble and a lot of messes. And they have no idea once they click on something where they actually are. Don't you think it would be worth your while to fix the website a little bit? No, I'm not making this up. The CEO of HP called the CEO of IBM to complain about the shitty design of the IBM website. This is way back. How do I know? They didn't broadcast that around the inside. I was a very early internet adopter and web user. And it turned out that I went to a certain section to talk to people about a software bug in a certain product. And it turned out that the day before, they had gotten a directive from the CEO to investigate this problem that the CEO of HP had complained to him about. And those people had no experience at all, actually, using the web. And when I came in to ask about my stuff, they happened to be talking about it. And after I did my business, I said, what were you guys talking about? So they told me. And I said, oh yeah, I know what he's complaining about. You want me to show you? Yes, please. And so I gave them about a half-hour demonstration. Now, it isn't because they weren't smart. When it's the beginning of something, think of AI. Think of AI 2 years ago. Go back and look at my playlist called AI and see what I had as my first video about AI involving NC State graduate students using it to do their programming homeworks. Anything new that comes along, nobody knows how to do it. It's not surprising that most people had not used the web yet. I had been using the internet and Gopher and other things, and by that time I knew about things like Alta Vista search engine, which was even before Google was imagined. And just by chance, I walked in on a conversation where they were struggling with, the CEO wants us to take care of this problem, but we have no idea. And I helped them get started. And then they called me a couple more times, and I stepped them through a little bit more of what I knew, because I had a website somewhere, and I had written web pages and stuff like that. Very basic, very simple. I hope you can't see that one. But we're 30 years down the road now. Go back and look at when the web started. We're 30 years down the road, and this kind of stuff still goes on? That I click directly on the symbol and it doesn't work? Way back, YouTube had the reputation within the framework of what was then Google, then became Alphabet. The really smart ones were all pulled off to other more important things happening under the Google roof. And the dregs were allowed to work for YouTube. Now YouTube is one of the premier income earners for Alphabet. And they still got people that do this stuff. I would have thought they could afford to get. I'm making fun of them because I've been on YouTube for a long time, and this kind of stuff happening is YouTube is the problem. They have no quality control. They have no software testing. They wing it. Oh, it don't matter. Pardon my strong opinions. When I hadn't come to the audio library for quite some time, and then when I needed it, I kept clicking on it and going, it's broken. And then I accidentally clicked to the side and it did that. And as a veteran software tester, I went, oh, yeah, YouTube is the problem. This is Steve Habe for you. Ranting a little bit. Saying see you in 73.